Mets Baseball 85. Brought to you by Bud Light, the light beer with the first name in taste. Everything else is just alike. By Nissan, who invites you to test drive the new 1986 Stanza wagon, the only wagon with dual sliding doors. By Manufacturers Hanover, the financial source worldwide. By the Good Olds Guys, your New York, New Jersey, Southern Connecticut Oldsmobile dealers. By Burger King. Come on in and try the big beefy taste of Burger King's new Whopper sandwich. By your local Sunoco dealer, who offers you 93.5 octane Ultra. And by RC Cola. People go out of their way for the taste of RC. Live from Shea Stadium in New York, it's Mets Baseball 85. Tonight, the New York Mets take on the Montreal Expos. Pitching for Montreal tonight, right-hander Bill Gullickson, who is 10-6 on the year with a 3.20 ERA. And going for the Mets, the doctor, Dwight Gooden, 15-3 with an ERA of 1.74.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Ralph Kiner, along with Tim McCarver and Steve Zabriskie, all set for the second game of this series with the Montreal Expos. The Mets winning last night, but the bad news is the Cardinals won today over the Chicago Cubs. So the Mets will have to win here tonight to stay within 3 games of the St. Louis Cardinals. It's a warm, humid night here at Shea Stadium, but as they say in the comic strip, there are a lot of fans here to keep us cool. We have just about a full house, Tim McCarver.
We certainly do, and I think it's only appropriate that it be warm and humid tonight because Dwight Gooden has been red hot. He's going for his 10th straight victory tonight. He's 15-3 on the season. He leads the major leagues in strikeouts with 163 and an earned run average with a 1.74 ERA, but he has a tough assignment tonight in Bill Gullickson, who has a 10-6 record and has won 3 in a row himself.
And Gullickson, the man who struck out 18 as a rookie, holds a rookie record for strikeouts. Right now, let's go down to Steve Zabriskie and his special guest.
Thanks, Ralph, and hi, everybody. Well, last night, Rick Aguilera continued to do an outstanding job for the Mets, winning over the Montreal Expos 3-2 with help from Jesse Orozco. There was some concern about the tenderness in his elbow before the start. That has been pretty much dispelled now, and he feels one of the keys for him was staying and getting ahead of the hitters.
I'd have to say, well, before the game started with a little tenderness in the elbow, I wanted not to waste too many pitches. I think the main thing was going, trying to get ahead of the hitters, not trying to waste too many pitches, like I said, just trying to get ahead and throw strikes, and it seemed to work. I had a good fastball and a good slider again, and then that's mainly what's been working for me all year, and it seemed to work again last night.
There has been some concern expressed about your elbow. What is the situation right now?
As of right now, I know it's something serious, and they're not sure exactly what it is. Dr. Parks looked at it and said that it's some kind of tightness in my elbow that runs back to my tricep. So as of right now, it's nothing serious, and I know personally that it's not. It's just a matter of a little bit of discomfort in my elbow that has never been there before, which kind of concerned me. But it's just a matter of taking a little bit of time off. I get a couple days extra rest. We have a day off, so I'm sure by my next start it'll be just fine.
Well, if last night's any indication, it appears to be just fine, that's for sure. We're back with the start of the game here at Shea right after this word from Bud Light.
Dwight Gooden, the doctor getting that name, as a basketball player, a fine athlete in high school, and Dr. J, of course, the outstanding basketball player. And Dwight out to the mound. The Mets take the field. The Mets in July, a hot ball club. They've won 19, lost 7. Last year in July, they were very hot. They won 21 and lost 9. They were in first place at the end of July last year, a half game up on the Cubs. And now Dwight Gooden trying to keep the Mets within touch of the St. Louis Cardinals, who defeated Chicago today by a score of 11-3. Gooden has a record going of 15-3. He's 0-0 against Montreal this year, lifetime 1-1. He has an earned run average of 1.74, the best in baseball. And he has worked a total of 107 innings, giving up 120 hits, walking 45, striking out 163, the best in baseball. He has given up 11 home runs. Dwight Gooden on the mound for the Mets.
And the Montreal lineup, Timmy Raines, the left fielder, leading off. Vance Law at second base will hit second. Andre Dawson in right field. He won a Gold Glove there after winning several in center field last year. He will bat third. Hubie Brooks, the ex-Met, playing short and hitting fourth. Hubie leading all shortstops in the National League in RBIs with 55. Dan Dreesen, the first baseman, will bat fifth. Tim Wallach with a big two-run homer off Jesse Orozco in last night's game. He will bat sixth. Herm Winningham, also the ex-Met and a rookie. Another ex-Met, Mike Fitzgerald, behind the plate, will bat eighth. And Bill Gullickson on the mound. So the Montreal Expo lineup stocked with 3 ex-New York Mets.
And defensively for the Mets, Hernandez, Backman, Santana, and Johnson in the infield. Foster, Dykstra, Strawberry in the outfield. Gary Carter, an ex-Montreal Expos, who was in that 4-player trade. Catching for the Mets, and Dwight Gooden on the mound. Dwight has a lifetime record of 32 wins, 12 losses. We'd like to remind you this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Mets and WOR-TV and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets and WOR-TV is prohibited.
Ralph, since we're talking about that trade, it was interesting to see Murray Cook's comments about that trade. When asked by a reporter yesterday if both teams would make that trade again, the 4-for-1 trade, he said absolutely.
Well, both teams should be happy in that trade. You'd like to see it work out that way. In that 4-man trade, Yeomans, a pitcher who was in the same area at Tampa one time with Dwight Gooden, was the 4th man, who is now in the minor leagues. He did come up to pitch 1 game for Montreal this year. So Tim Raines to lead off. Raines hitting .296, 5 home runs, 19 runs batted in. He has 38 stolen bases out of a total of 44 tries. He has the all-time stolen base percentage record for success. His lifetime average, 88%. No one even close to that successful percentage. Raines 0 for 4 last night, hitting .241 against the Mets. And the first pitch of the game. Fastball high as Carter tries to pull it down into the strike zone with no success against home plate umpire Frank Pulley. Eric Gregg, the umpire at first base, Joe West at second base, and Doug Harvey, the umpire at third. And it's ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. Gooden has won 9 consecutive ball games. The last Met to do that, Tom Seaver, back in 1970. Seaver holds the record of 10 straight wins in 1969. And a strike call, 2 balls, 1 strike. Gooden's last loss was against the Dodgers back on May 25th. It is warm and humid.
Boy, that's something, isn't it? He has not lost a game in over 2 months. 9-0 with 3 no decisions.
One of the no decisions to the Montreal Expos, and a swinging strike, 2-2. Raines has been on base 26 times in his last 13 ball games. And they're looking for the first K up there in the K corner. Strike 3, and Raines is the first strikeout victim.
A 2-2 fastball on the outside, and Raines out.
He was rained on there, wasn't he? That'll bring up Vance Law. Law hitting at .257 for the year. He has 6 home runs, 31 RBIs, and of the 6 home runs, 3 of them have been against the Mets. Son of Verdon Law, the great Pittsburgh Pirate pitcher.
Little chance of rain tonight, and I was kidding about that rain's out, but there is little chance. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, but it is mighty soupy here at Shea, isn't it?
And the first pitch, an off-speed pitch by Gooden. Strike 1. Gooden with that strikeout now with 164. Dwight has worked an awful lot, and he's only 20 years of age, and that's of concern to the New York Mets. Fastball fouled back, strike 2.
He had thrown 6 fastballs in a row, and Gary Carter wanted him to shake off. I think he's obviously trying to establish that fastball early. So Gary just said, shake me off one time. We've thrown too many in a row, and get the hitter thinking a little bit. Then he came right back with a fastball.
Reminds me of a story Ted Williams told me at the Hall of Fame ceremonies. There's a curve, and goodbye. Lord Charles for strikeout number 2.
Hey, you've got to talk about curveballs like that as royalty, because that was a regal curveball.
And it brings up Andre Dawson. Ted Williams said one time he was batting against Bridges of the Tigers, who was a great curveball pitcher. He said he came in to warm up and threw 8 straight curveballs. And then when he got set, he was looking curveball, and he threw him 3 fastballs and struck him out.
I'll be darned.
Can't trust those pitchers.
No, you can't. They're a sneaky bunch.
Dawson hitting .266, 10 home runs, 45 RBIs.
That's what they mean when they say they're sneaky fast, right?
And a swing and a miss. Dawson against the Mets hitting .241 with 1 home run. Andre in last night's ball game 1 for 3. And the curveball, and Dawson tied up like in a knot. 2 strikes to count.
A good Yellowhammer. Boy, that ball dropped out of nowhere.
2 strikes to count. And a back to the curveball pitch, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Gooden has struck out 3 in an inning on 23 occasions in his major league career, 17 times last year, and so far this year 6 times. And the 1-2 pitch. Fastball, and he has struck out the side. An auspicious beginning for Dwight Gooden. A 1-2-3 inning on strikeouts, and the score at the end, a 1/2 inning. The Expos nothing, the Mets coming up. Now here's a word from the good old guys. The Montreal Expos, he has been in 16 ball games. He has won 10, lost 6. His earned run average 3.20, and he has worked 1 shutout with 2 complete games. Gullickson with a lifetime record of 68 and 55, and lifetime against the Mets, he is 8 and 4, and he'll be working to this lineup.
Lenny Dykstra leading it off and playing center. Second baseman Wally Backman will bat second. Keith Hernandez, and what a July he has had, and we'll chronicle that for you once the game begins. Gary Carter batting 4th and catching. Right fielder Darryl Strawberry batting 5th. George Foster in left will hit 6th. Howard Johnson at 3rd batting 7th. Rafael Santana, the shortstop, hitting 8th, and Dwight Gooden, a good hitting pitcher, on the mound.
And Gullickson will have these men behind him, 1 in front of him. Dreesen, Law, Brooks, and Wallach behind him in the infield. Raines, Winningham, and Dawson in the outfield. Man facing him will be Mike Fitzgerald, and the pitcher, of course, Bill Gullickson. You got to look at Buddy Harrelson. Good seats, hey, Buddy?
Good seats, hey, buddy? He missed the tag. He missed the tag.
Nice going, Bud Harrelson. And Len Dykstra to lead off for the Mets. Gullickson with the first pitch for a swinging strike. Dykstra hitting .250 for the year. He has 1 home run, 15 RBIs. He brings a 5-game hitting streak into this game, hitting .368 over the 5 games with 7 base hits. Curveball, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Gullickson, as we mentioned in the opening, struck out 18 in his rookie year. That's the all-time record. Of course, the all-time record for a 9-inning ball game in strikeouts, 19. And the slider inside, and the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Tom Seaver, the first to strike out, 19. Also, Steve Carlton had 19 strikeouts. Nolan Ryan, 19. 2 balls, 1 strike. And a strike call by Frank Pulley on the fastball.
Ralph, I think Lefty was the first to strike out in 19.
I think he was in 69.
In 69. Didn't Tom do it in 73 or something against San Diego?
I think you're right. That's right. He did struck out the last 10 batters against San Diego, and they weren't around in 69.
Wasn't it 73 or something like that?
73.
73.
And a swinging strike. So Dykstra becomes the first strikeout victim as Gullickson attempts to duplicate Gooden's approach.
I was going to say, speaking of strikeouts, 4 in a row. Gooden had 3 in a row, and now Len Dykstra goes at a high fastball. The only reason I remember that is because I was behind the plate and I called those 2 pitches to Swoboda.
Struck out 19 batters and lost the ball game.
Man,
Boy.
two two-run homers to Swoboda, and we've mentioned before, I do not know how he hit those pitches to this day. 2 0-2 pitches, one a slider, one a fastball.
Now the batter is Wally Backman, who's been on a tear. Backman now hitting .276 with 1 home run, 16 RBIs. His last 21 ball games, he's batted .341. Wally 0 for 3 in last night's ball game. No score, just underway. We're in the bottom half of the first, 1 man out. No one's hit the ball yet. And a foul ball for the first time it's been hit. Jim McCarver.
Oh, now,
take a
wait
look
a
at
minute.
that.
What's
Jim
going on?
McCarver. That's from a magazine. And it's a scouting report on you when you first came into the major league. Jim McCarver.
I'm not. Arm not real strong, but gets rid of the ball quickly. You better get rid of the ball quickly.
Runs well for a catcher.
Not much power. Boy,
How about that? Well, you proved that scouting report wrong.
You can get stronger, right? Jim McCarver, I'll tell you, I've been having an identity crisis my whole life.
You've been telling me they knew who you were around here. There's a strike call, and the count at 1-2.
Who were those scouts in those early days?
You know where I got that? Some
Where?
guy brought it to me up at Cooperstown. He says, you got to put this on the air. Get a complimentary ticket to the Nissan Trans Am at Lime Rock Park on August 10th with a test drive of a new Nissan at your participating Metro New York Nissan dealer. Well, you can't get away with anything these days.
I'm telling you. Put my whole life story on the street. That Bill Webb will be hearing from my lawyers shortly.
1-2, the count to Wally Backman. Wally hitting only .071 against Montreal pitching this year, 1 for 14. And the curveball fouled into the stands, so the count will remain at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, we got a second here. We'd like to pass on a happy birthday wish to Clint Hurdle, who is 28 years of age today.
Well, Clint's had a good 2 weeks, huh? His wife, Julie, gave birth to Lauren Ashley. What a lovely, lovely name. Little girl. Beautiful little girl.
And it is strike 3, so 5 consecutive strikeouts, 3 by Gooden, 2 by Gullickson.
Well, I can't remember. You say you haven't seen things at a ball game. A high fastball from Gully. And I can't remember seeing 3 and 2. And I can't remember ever seeing 6 in a row in the first inning.
3 by each side. I guess it's happened.
Yeah, suppose it has.
This man's going to be a little tough to strike out. He's the hottest batter in the National League right now. 8-game winning RBIs in the month of July, hitting .404, safely in 23 of 25 games. Runners in scoring position, .556.
My goodness.
4 home runs, 29 RBIs. So one game that he didn't get on base, he appeared at the plate only 1 time. He was 0 for 1. That was in that doubleheader game with the Atlanta Braves. And Keefe, with all that action, hitting .292 now with his 8 home runs and 58 RBIs. And he leads the National League in game-winning runs batted in. And a line drive base hit. Keefe keeps it going. Now there goes the string of strikeouts.
And Hernandez hitting that low and away fastball, the most appropriate guy to break that string of 5 strikeouts in a row. That was a nasty tailing fastball. He didn't try to pull it. He just hit a rope to left.
So the Mets have the first base runner of the ball game with 2 men out here in the first, and it'll bring up Gary Carter. Carter hitting .272 for the year with 12 home runs, 47 RBIs. And this is his 1,500th game in the major leagues. Man, that's a lot of games at his age for a catcher.
He's only 31 years old. And, of course, some of those games have been split at first base. Started a couple of games in right field this year. But he has about 1,450 behind the plate. Jim Sundberg leads all active catcher. No, Bob Boone, I think, behind the plate, and then Jim Sundberg.
And Al Lopez has a record for the most games caught by a catcher, 1,917. Saw Al Lopez at the Hall of Fame. He looks great.
Good manager, too. The White Sox, the go-go White Sox in '59. And he gave way to Eddie Stanky in '66.
Also up at that Cooperstown ceremony was Wes Farrell, who holds the record for most games caught in the American League and a Hall of Famer. 1-0 pitch. Popped up into shallow right. No one there because the shift is on. Dawson chasing it, though, and he is in there in time to retire the side with his catch. 1 hit, 1 left, and the score at the end of 1. The Expos nothing, the Mets nothing. Now here's a word from Nissan. Bouncing on the Cubs 11-3. The Cubs are without pitchers.
Phillies at Pittsburgh, no score in the second. Astros and Reds, no score in the first. Padres and Braves, no score in the second. Giants and Dodgers later. Yeah, that Cub staff is just riddled with injuries. Sutcliffe on the disabled list for the 3rd time this year.
And now the first batter, Hubie Brooks, a former Met, and he singles into right field for a base hit. So after Gooden had struck out the side in the first, Hubie Brooks breaks the string. Hubie hitting at .253 for the year with 7 home runs, 55 RBIs, and as Tim said, he leads all shortstops in RBIs.
And you can't spot Dwight Gooden anything, and Hubie Brooks, after playing behind him a year, knows that, and went up swinging at the first pitch and ripped a single to right.
And it brings up Dan Dreesen. Dreesen, the first baseman, hitting .250 for the year with 6 home runs, 25 RBIs. No score. No one out, top of the 2nd inning. Dreesen hitting well against the Mets in spite of an 0 for 4 last night. He's hitting .308 against the Mets with 1 home run, 4 RBIs. And Gooden from the stretch position for the first time, and he broke off a big curve right there. Gooden so far has shown us an outstanding curve here tonight. If and when he puts the fastball and curveball together, look out. 1 strike to count to Dan Dreesen. And another big curveball. So Gooden has his curve tonight.
It's rare that Dwight Gooden will have that curveball early, but it is mighty hot and humid here tonight, so he has gotten loose in a hurry. That might have something to do with it.
Back to the fastball. The Express goes into the dugout, and somebody goes down to the floor. Time.
Looks like Terry Francona waving that hat down there. The blue towel is out. What does a blue towel mean?
I guess it means just slow down a little bit.
The white one's a flag of truce.
Surrender. 2 strikes to count. 2 curves and then the fastball, and he had the fastball by him, but Dreesen able to get a piece of it. Now back to the fastball, and the count 1-2.
You ought to see all the guys down at the end of the Montreal dugout. All of them are getting ready. One guy's got a glove. I think that's Steve Nicosia. They're pulling for Gooden to throw Dreesen a curveball so he won't nail him.
So they pull the ball. There they are. They're ready.
Look at Nicosia.
And the curveball in the dirt, and they count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hubie Brooks holding at first base as Carter makes a good stop. 2-2. Brooks the runner at first, no one out. No score in the game. McGee and Clark homered, and the Cardinals 11-3 win. 7 straight over the Cubs in 1985. Runner goes, good jump, but the ball is fouled on the left field side.
Well, if you're going to beat Dwight Gooden, you got to take unusual measures to beat him. Hubie Brooks realizes that he had a bad move over there last year. He does not know, I don't think, that Dwight Gooden has improved his move immensely. He may know it, but he certainly didn't take off for second like he knew it then. He had a super jump. Hubie never gets a good lead over
now. He's got a short lead now. Gooden has pitched 1 time against Montreal this year with an ND, no decision. Curveball, and this one is hit foul. Ball will be back into the stands out of play. And while we got a second, we'd like to pass on a happy birthday to a longtime Met fan, 89 years old, Charles Meyer, Secaucus, New Jersey, where WR has their transmitter. So Gooden working with a 2-2 count. Hubie again with a very short lead at first. He has never been a man to take a big lead. He draws some action. See, Keith today is featuring the inbounds hold-on position. Both feet in fair territory. Curve ball out to the second baseman, Backman. Backman tries for two, loses the tag, but now the throw down to second in time, and they get the double play. Good play by Backman and Hernandez.
It was a good play by Backman because he gets Brooks going back to first. Now a strong throw by Hernandez. And a good quick tag by Santana. Brooks was not down. He wasn't close enough to first base really to handle this, but he did backpedal and getting him going back. Then he couldn't recover in time. Hernandez with that good, strong throw, quick tag. Good play all the way around.
So Backman starts the Mets' 86th double play, and now the batter is Tim Wallach, and Wallach takes a strike. Wallach against Gooden has really had his troubles, hitting .271 for the year with 9 home runs, 48 RBIs, and he grounds this one down to third. Backhanded by Johnson to throw to first base in time for the out. So no strikeouts, 1 hit, and no one left on base as a result of the double play, and the score at the end of 1.5. It's the Mets nothing and the Expos nothing. Now here's a word from the good olds guys. The other ballparks in the American League, the Yankees leading the Indians 4-3 in the top of the 8th. That's the first of 2. White Sox 1, Red Sox nothing. Tom Seaver in the mound in that ball game, top of the 2nd. No score, top of the 2nd. Royals against the Tigers. Blue Jays 2. The Orioles nothing, top of the 2nd. Rangers nothing. The Brewers coming up. And the Angels and A's later. The Twins and Mariners are later on. And here, a man who's never late, Tim McCarver.
All right, Ralph, thank you. Darryl Strawberry facing Bill Gullickson, and he went too far on the slider. Darryl batting .249, 12 home runs, 34 ribbies. No score, bottom of the 2nd inning. 2 fine young right-handers going at each other, Bill Gullickson and Dwight Gooden. Another strike on the outside corner. Little chin music, semi-chin music. Gullickson from Marshall, Minnesota, grew up in Joliet, Illinois. Did he go too far again? No, says Doug Harvey. And it's 2-2 to Darryl Strawberry. Well, that good biting slider down and into left-handers. Foster on deck, and a good curveball. Very quick late break. Line to left. And it's by Rain. Strawberry will go to second, and he has a double, his 6th of the year. Another good pitch by Gullickson and another rope.
So Darryl Strawberry up with his 6th double of the year. And he goes for the outside pitch, a little bit higher than the one that Hernandez hit, but he hits it hard enough that it skips right on by Raines and goes against the outfield fence. Easy 2-base hit for Darryl. And the Mets have had their left-hand batters for the 2 hits, hitting the ball the opposite way.
Boy, he loves that ball out over the plate, doesn't he? Last year, September 30th, Strawberry had 2 home runs against Bill Gullickson in the same game. And he's at second tonight. Nobody out, and the batter, George Foster. Fastball is wide. Foster with 15 home runs, batting .243. Capacity crowd on hand here at Shea, and it is not a giveaway night.
They're giving away strikeouts.
Giving away heat.
Yeah.
Atmospheric and otherwise. 1-0 to Foster. Gullickson 12-9 last year. And he had the best control in the major leagues. He had 1.47 walks per 9 innings. Lamar Hoyt was second with the White Sox at the time with 1.64 walks per 9 innings, and John Candelaria third with 1.65. Ground ball to short. Hubie Brooks throws out Foster, and George failing to move the runner along, and the batter Howard Johnson. Not that you want a guy like George Foster to try to go to right field, huh?
No, you want him to hit it to his power and straight away. In that case, I think with your power hitter up, that you're looking more for the base hit than to give himself up and try and move the runner over to third. Can't waste that power when you got it in the lineup.
That's right. Guess if you had your druthers, you'd prefer if he does make an out to move him along, but you can't have everything, right? Howard Johnson, the batter. Howard batting .227, 6 home runs, 27 RBIs. And as you saw in the graphic, he has been hot. Good fastball.
Johnson's hit .309 in his last 23 ball games, so he's been doing the job they had expected of him when they got him from Detroit.
Strawberry at second base. He's liable to run, too. 1 out, a good time, even though the left-handed hitter is up. And a curveball is low, 1-1.
Gullicson throws a lot of breaking balls, and of course that gives the base runner a little more time to get over to the base.
Strawberry was thrown out at third base with 1 out in a key game, and then Johnson, when they were trying to pitch around Hurdle, then Johnson got a base hit, and the Mets eventually lost that ball game. You hope it doesn't thwart his aggressiveness on the bases. Another breaking ball tapped toward first. Andreessen takes it himself. Well, Johnson hustling all the way down there. Strawberry moves to third base. 2 out now, and the batter Rafael Santana.
Then there's a slight option right here. Do you walk Santana to pitch to Gooden? I personally wouldn't do it because Gooden's not a bad hitter.
Rafi batting .254. Santana weak on breaking balls away, but you got to be concerned about Bill Gullickson and that breaking ball in the dirt.
He throws an awful lot of wild pitches. So far this year, he's only had 1, but he had 6 in 1 ball game a while back.
Back in 1982. That is a record, by the way. Ground ball just foul. So it's 0-1 to Santana. Phil Necro and J.R. Richard had 6 wild pitches in 1979. Look how it hit that right the edge of the grass, huh, Ron?
Right there, almost got the batter. If the batter's in foul territory, it doesn't make any difference if he's hit, but if he gets hit in fair territory, he's automatically out.
That's why you lead off third base in foul territory, as Darrell is doing.
Had someone write me a letter about if you're standing on the base, say at second base, are you not liable to be hit by a batted ball? You certainly are. You're out if you're hit if you're standing on the bag. That bag's only good when they try to tag you out in a pickoff. And a couple other situations.
1-1 to Santana. 2 out, no score, bottom of 2. Dwight Gooden against Bill Gullickson. Breaking ball and a beauty. 1-2 to Santana.
Gullickson has that slow breaking curveball, and then he also has the hard curveball or slider.
If you're Santana, you looking for a breaking ball here?
I gotta look for it.
I'll guarantee you. Bet the trailer on it, pal. Breaking ball, foul away.
He hit a little bit differently in this spot. When you have 2 strikes on you, you try to get very defensive. You look for anything but mainly try to get the bat on the ball, and you try to hit the ball straight away, right through. You don't try to pull it.
Into that defensive posture as a hitter.
A lot of hitters choke up in the bat. Ted Williams did.
Santana's up on the bat. Another breaking ball away. It's going to be a tough play for Law. And he made it. Good play by Vance Law. Boy, that saved a run. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 left after 2. No score. Now here's a word from Manufacturers Hanover.
On the batter, Rafael Santana right over the bag at second, and Law from a running position makes a good enough throw to get the man there and save a run. So Vance Law, the second baseman, coming up for the big play.
Ralph, a lot of people don't realize what a great athletic move it is to be going so hard one way and throw back across your body on the run. Don't have a foot to plant and then throw it back across and make a good throw. Herm Winningham swings and misses. Herm batting .270, an ex-Met farmhand.
One of the reasons that Montreal liked Winningham in the last series that he played in against Montreal last year when he came up from the minors, he went 5 for 10 against the Expos.
He is a good-looking player, and it amazes me how guys like Gooden, Aguilera, as you see his pitches, 23 pitches, 18 strikes. But it amazes me how these young fellas can come up and have such poise and confidence. You saw the pregame interview that Steve did with Rick Aguilera. Speaks so well and so confidently. Part of a sign of the times. I guess youngsters are ready for the big leagues more than we were when we came up. Grounded, foul ball. 1-2.
Well, they've been exposed so much more to the media and also to
television,
electronic devices such as television and radio. This ball kicks back one way, and then the spin of it takes it out again and did not cross over the bag. If that ball crosses over any part of that bag when it's bouncing, it is a fair ball.
Regardless of where it hits past it. 1-2 to Winningham. Goodness struck out 3 and allowed 1 hit. Still 1-2.
Winningham 1 for 10 against Met pitching this year. He is a player a lot like Mookie Wilson.
Good comparison. Not a switch hitter, of course. Oh, man, what a breaking ball. 4th strikeout for Dwight Gooden.
Well, the right showed us a fine curveball in the first inning when he struck out the side, and right here he strikes out the first batter in the 3rd.
And his old battery mate, Mike Fitzgerald, the batter as the K's go up. Fitzgerald hit a home run against Gooden in spring training, a 3-run homer. And that visibly upset Gooden. And then in our first televised game on WOR, he struck out Fitzgerald 3 times. Strike 1. He hit the home run in West Palm Beach where the Expos train. Then he fanned Fitzgerald 3 times, so a bit of revenge. That's a thing few people realize about Gooden. He's a competitor.
What you're trying to say is don't hit any home runs off Dwight Gooden in spring training.
That's right. Especially if you played with him before.
They don't count in spring training.
0-2.
Boy, there's concentration right there.
Another curveball ripped to left, but Foster hardly has to move. 2 out.
Like picking cherries out there.
Could have caught that ball in a rocking chair. Now the batter, Bill Gullickson.
The Expos pitcher, number 34, Bill Gullickson.
A couple of years ago, the Mets faced Gullickson in about June, and he was 0 for 24 on the season, and he hit 2 straight doubles for his first 2 hits. And he grounds this one to shortstop. Santana on the high hop. 3 up, 3 down. Gooden has retired 5 in a row. And after 2.5, no score. We'll be right back after this word from the Bell Atlantic Yellow Pages. Call it anti-soap day tomorrow, right? And, of course, you know that August 10th date. Of course, the strike deadline is next Tuesday, August 6th. And it should be interesting. You saw Commissioner Peter Ubroth up at the Hall of Fame route.
Got a chance to hear him and also talk to him personally, and he just said there will be no strike if he can do anything about it, and he's very adamant about that. Incidentally, all the people connected with the Hall of Fame should be congratulated. Ed Stack and his group, they did a superb job.
Oh, that's great. The induction ceremonies, Archie Vaughn, Hoyt Wilhelm, Ina Slaughter, and Lou Brock. I understand Lou Brock's speech was a stirring speech.
They were all very, very good.
And Dwight Gooden, the batter, and he grounds one up the middle. Hubie Brooks throws out the doctor, one out.
Well, there's no prettier place in Cooperstown. It is unbelievably beautiful. And that Hall of Fame, my gosh, what they have done up there. New wings, new things to look at. You could get lost in there for a week and never want to go out.
A lot of people fail to realize how pretty the area is. The headwaters of the, Susquehanna River, Lake Oneonta, I believe it is.
Otsego.
Otsego, okay. Here's Lynn Dykstra. He struck out his first time up, and he grounds one to second. So 2 pitches and 2 outs here in the third. Oneonta, New York's about 20 miles from Cooperstown. Well, anyway, it's time to play Mets trivia. Can you name the Met who holds the club record for receiving the most bases on balls? Mull that one over, and soon we'll flash the answer right here on your screen.
Is that career-wise or for a season?
Doesn't say.
Well, the answer will tell you.
All right. Career.
Career, huh?
Bill Webb tells us it's for the career. Keith Hernandez holds it for 1 season. He broke Buddy Harrelson's record, I believe. 0-1 to Wally Backman with 2 out. Line past Wallach at third base. So Backman has the 3rd hit of the game for the Mets. And the batter will be Keith Hernandez, who had the 1st hit.
Well, the Mets have had 3 hits, all by left-hand batters and all to left field. Hernandez lined a single to left field. Strawberry doubled to left field, and now Wally Backman with a single to left field.
And as we said, Keith Hernandez holds the season record for most walks by a Met player. Who holds the career walk record by a Mets player?
It wasn't Danny Napoleon.
No, career. Buddy Harrelson, 573 career walks. There's Buddy. I didn't mean to give it away, but I kind of gave too good a hint, didn't I? Well, I mean, we're having fun. What the heck? 2 out. Harrelson at third, Backman at first. Freudian slip. And a strike, 0-1, as long as you don't wear them, right?
That's right. Sometimes you do wear them, though. Hernandez is going to break Bud's record. There's no question about it. He's had 57 walks already this year, second to Jack Clark, who has 62. White Bowl Buddy right out of the record books.
1 on, 2 out, no score in the third. Danny Dreesen didn't want that tag, did he? Talking to Eric Gregg, the first base umpire, and Eric saying, come on. Fine crew. Pulley behind the plate, Eric Gregg at first, Joe West at second, and Doug Harvey at third. One and one to Keith Hernandez.
And after the game, if you'd like to hear a little country western music, Joe West will get out his guitar and sing you one of his songs that he's composed.
Yeah, tonight Frank Pulley, whoever's behind the plate with this crew, gets to choose the music in the umpire's room. Pulley and Eric Gregg like rock music. Joe West likes country western, and Doug Harvey leans toward the operatic music, right?
That's quite a mixture right there. Who carries all the records?
Opposite. Well, I guess it would have been tough in the old days. Now with tape machines and the whole bit easier. Opposites attract. 1-1 to Hernandez. There goes Backman. Fastball is outside, and Backman has a stolen base. And he'll be at second base with 2 out, and the count 2-1 to Hernandez.
Fitzgerald has absolutely no chance at all here. Backman with a tremendous jump. The throw is a bad throw, but look where Backman is before the ball gets there. Wally getting that fantastic jump. He gets his 16th stolen base in 22 attempts. And the Mets have a runner in scoring position with 2 men out.
No score. The Mets with 3 hits, and the Expos with but 1. And here comes Fitzgerald. Maybe they're talking about walking Keith Hernandez.
To get to Gary Carter, a right-hand batter. Tell you, when you got a batter as hot as Keith is, you start thinking all kinds of things, even though it's early in the ball game.
Similar to George Brett in the Kansas City Royals. Al McRae hitting behind him and hitting very well. How about Wade Boggs? 56 straight games on base. He had the 28-game hitting streak. On base 56 games in a row.
And he's still eating chicken, too.
Yeah.
Never eats anything but chicken.
Poulet, right? 2-1 to Hernandez. Ground ball, and there's Dreesen. And he takes it himself. So whatever Fitzgerald told Gullickson, it was right. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 left. After 3, no score. Now here's a word from the good old guys.
Mr. T to Mr. Z, huh? Tim Raines leads it off, top of the order for Montreal as we go to the top of the 4th, since Dwight Gooden has faced the minimum 9 so far. Hubie Brooks with a hit in the 2nd, but he was erased on a double play. Raines struck out his first time up. And the count now 2 balls and no strikes. And the doctor wants a different baseball. Raines has hit in 9 of his last 10 games, hitting .324 over those 10. But you talk about consistency. He's hit .321 over the last 54 ball games. That's a couple of months worth. 3-0 now. And you do not want to put this man on base. 3-1. Gooden has struck out 4. He struck out the side in the first inning. And he walks his first batter. Raines is on to lead off the 4th inning.
Well, Raines has led the league in stolen bases 4 consecutive years. He won't do it this year in all likelihood, because the leader is Coleman with 69, Raines with 38. He and Willie McGee started their games today with 38 stolen bases. Coleman, a rookie, is very close to setting the new rookie record set by Juan Samuel last year, 72 stolen bases.
And here's Vance Law, who has walked 13 times in the last 12 ball games. He too struck out his first time up. And the doctor will keep Tim Raines close at first. Just for those very reasons you detailed, Mr. Kiner.
Well, good play again by Keith Hernandez, who dug that one out of the dirt. Here it is again on the replay. Watch this. Right out of the dirt. Good play.
Raines probably would have been closer to being out had he not gone back standing up. And Vance Law late on the fastball, strike 1.
Looked like he was trying to hit that ball to right field.
It did.
But you can't tell with Gooden because he throws it so hard. Most of the hitters have to hit it to right field.
The only way you can hit it to right field against him is to not try to hit it to right. If you try to hit it to right field, you're way behind it. I think Tim's got enough gold around his neck to open his own store. The Rock. And the Doc.
Those are handicap weights put on him to slow him down.
Grounded foul off the breaking ball, and it's 0-2. And now the jam-packed crowd here at Shea comes alive as once again Gooden has 2 strikes on a batter.
Looking for a strikeout. It's a paradox that the Mets don't want him to strike out a lot of batters. He throws too many pitches that way.
Curveball ripped foul. So the count's still 0-2. Vance Law does not strike out a whole lot.
And he gets information from his daddy on the telephone when he's hitting. Father, one of the great Pittsburgh Pirate pitchers.
He knew how to get you out. Close again, but again Raines going in standing up. Vance Law with 6 home runs on the year. 3 of those home runs have been hit against the New York Mets. Fly ball to right field. Strawberry has plenty of room. 1 away. And that'll bring up Andre Dawson.
Right fielder, Andre.
And he struck out his first time up to end the first inning. Dawson hitting .241 with a home run against the Mets this year, and that's a whole lot better than he has hit against New York previous 2 seasons. He was well under 200 against New York last year. Big curveball, strike 1.
Oh, he rocked Dawson back with that curveball. Parts were leaving town on that pitch.
The break apart pitch. Feel like your body's going to break apart trying to.
Mind is willing, but the body is weak.
Fastball skied and playable down the left field line. Johnson knocks the ball girl over, but makes the play and has to flip off balance in order to keep Raines from tagging and going to second. 2 away. She's got to learn to pick up her stool and get out of there, and third base umpire Doug Harvey is talking to her about that very thing.
Oh, look at it again. The ball girl did not move away from the play. She's is in play right there. She's a grounds rule right there. Here's another angle of it.
That was dangerous for both her and the player.
Harvey over there to see whether or not a fan would interfere with the play. No one did. Fan reaches out in the field, and the umpire thinks it could be caught by the fielder. The batter can be called out.
2 out now. And the batter Hubie Brooks, who singled to right for the only hit off Gooden so far.
Look for Raines to be running here.
Fastball right in there for strike 1.
Raines is a very selective base runner. Only Philadelphia, who has thrown him out twice, Tony Pena, who has thrown him out once, and Ashby, who has thrown him out once at second base, have thrown him out this year.
Hubie fights off the inside pitch. 0-2.
So when you have 38 stolen bases and have been thrown out at second only 4 times, you can see why he's the best percentage base stealer in the history of baseball. 88% success.
(0-2) with 2 out and Raines at first. Raines bluffs and a pitch out, and Carter throws behind him but doesn't get it.
That's a good call right there. You got some time to work on the base runner. Pitch out call there. In fact, another pitch out call wouldn't be a bad call. Raines faking the attempt and then getting back ahead of the tag.
Now, I'm with you, Ralph. I'd be inclined to pitch out one more time.
Game has changed so much. When you throw over to first base, it used to indicate they were not going to pinch out, but now they play it a little bit differently. They throw over even though a pitch out might be called.
Catchers will signal for the pitcher to throw over to first, and then they might just call one. Raines bluffs again, and Hubie lines it to center for a base hit. Raines will have to stop at second as Dykstra fires to third, and Brooks is 2 for 2, and the Expos have runners at first and second with 2 out.
Hubie now with 9 hits and 30 at-bats against the Mets, his former teammates. Last year, Hubie hit in 24 consecutive ball games to set a Met record. He's a solid hitter. Hubie Brooks.
Carter out to have a word with Gooden.
Gooden leads the major leagues and the fewest hits allowed per 9 innings, 6.3.
Dan Dreesen didn't get one his first time up. He grounded to Wally Backman that started a double play. Strike at the knees.
Keith Hernandez is first baseman for the Mets, back on the outfield grass. No one feels the position much deeper than Keith and has more range than Keith Hernandez. Also Backman on the edge, but that's not unusual. But Keith is really deep.
Well, he's got a good athlete on the mound in Dwight Gooden, who is able to cover well at first should the ball be pulled. 1-1 to Dreesen.
Keith's so far away, he might not be able to get there.
That's right. This is one reason why a first baseman ordinarily cannot play that deep. But the fact that there are 2 out helps too. 2-1. Now 3-1. And all those fastballs have been up and away to Dan Dreesen. Dreesen coming into the game this year hitting .308 against the Mets with 1 home run. And there's Tim Wallach, the on-deck hitter. Fastball, and it hits the second base umpire Joe West. And they've got Raines hung up between third and home, but there's not going to be any play. Joe West signaling that Raines goes back to third and that the ball is dead.
Boy, that cost the Mets because the second baseman Backman could have fielded this ball and would have been the 3rd out of the inning. But Joe West gets hit. The ball is dead because he's inside of the infielders and the bases are loaded. Tough break for the Mets. Let's look at it again right there, and it hits West. Now look, Backman would have fielded that ball easily. West unable to get out of the way, and the ball is dead.
So it'll go as an infield base hit, and it loads the bases with 2 out. That one look tells it all. Joe tried to get out of the way, but he couldn't. The ball was smoked.
They used to have the second base umpire in short center field, the umpire that way. That was in the American League. They have moved to the National League way of being inside in both leagues now, but that cost the Mets right there. Backman could have fielded that ball.
So instead of being out of the inning, the bases are loaded with 2 out for Tim Wallach, who grounded to third on a nice play by Howard Johnson to end the second. And a ground ball up the middle. Santana takes it, steps on the bag, and the inning is over. 2 hits and a walk in the inning, and 3 left on board. But no score after 3.5. Now here's a word from Bud Light.
Well, live from Wrigley Field, don't miss the action when the Mets take on the Chicago Cubs Friday afternoon at 4 right here on Channel 9. And we're coming your way from Shea Stadium at this moment. Ralph Kiner along with Steve Zabriskie and Tim McCarver all set for the bottom half of the fourth.
And there's a banner for Danny Heath. And the joint is rocking right now to the sounds of the Beatles. Gary Carter leads it off. No score, each club with 3 hits. Carter, who flied out to shallow right field to end the first inning, will be followed by Darryl Strawberry and George Foster against Bill Gullickson, who has pretty much matched Dwight Gooden so far. Gary's 1,500th major league game. Good breaking ball for strike 1. Not quite so much of a shift put on for Gary by Montreal this time. Vance Law stays on the second base side, but you see Hubie Brooks way over in the hole. Law hugging the bag and a big gap between the second baseman and shortstop.
Outfield pretty well shifted around. Yankees 8, the Indians 5, a final score in the American League.
First of a doubleheader at Cleveland.
Yankees starting 7 games back.
Strike 2 on Carter. Gullickson has struck out 2 and typically has not walked the batter. He has outstanding control. He has not lost to the New York Mets since October 1st of 1983. He's 8-4 lifetime against New York. Gary looking right out at Bill Gullickson.
Well, that really had to be a purpose pitch right there. Look at it again. No balls, 2 strikes, and this ball right over the top of his head. And Gullickson has outstanding control. He has walked only 26 batters in 98 innings coming in. So there's a little animosity involved in that one, I'd have to guess.
Gary hits it on the ground. Hubie Brooks scoops it up and almost throws it away, but Dreesen hangs in there. And then Gary looking out at Gullickson again. Gullickson with that outstanding control, and no one knows it better than Gary Carter, as he has caught Gullickson his entire career up until this year. So there's a little bit of animosity, as you said, Ralph. That's a good word for it, between Carter and many of the Expos.
When Carter was traded from Montreal, there were quite a few of the Montreal Expos that were very outspoken in a negative way about Gary, and I don't know whether or not Gullickson was among them, but there was something going on right there.
Yep, that was a little bit more than just baseball. Darryl Strawberry doubled to left his first time up and was stranded at third. He took a ball down and in, 1-0. One and one.
Tell you one thing, Carter responded the best way he could is he hit that next pitch hard at Hubie Brooks.
It's about the only recourse a hitter has.
That's right.
To hit the ball. Foul out of play, 1-2. Strawberry's hit .313 over the last 23 games. There's Gary. And he's so emotional that he's going to carry that for a little while. One and two. 2-2.
There's a lot of difference between that pitch right there to Strawberry and one throwing at a batter's head. When you're in tight like that to brush a hitter back, there's nothing wrong with that.
They did it last night to Len Dykstra. And purposely tried to move Lenny back. Strike 3 call. Third strikeout for Gullickson and 2 out here in the 4th inning.
Right here, a fastball by Gullickson. It backs up and catches that inside corner, and Frank Pulley punches Strawberry out 2 men away, and that'll bring up George Foster.
George grounded to short his first time up. Foster has driven in 28 runs in the last 29 games and hit 7 homers during that span. Strike one off the fastball. Carlton Fisk taking over the major league lead with his 27th home run of the year.
What a year he is having.
Unbelievable. He has now one more than Dale Murphy, who leads the National League with 26 going into tonight. Ground ball to short again. And room service hop for Hubie Brooks. A 1-2-3 inning for Gullickson with a strikeout. And after 4 here at Shea, no score. Now here's a word from the good olds guys. Gullickson go at it before a capacity crowd. Herm Winningham will lead it off, as the bottom of the order will face the doctor here in the 5th. Winningham, Fitzgerald, and then Gullickson will bat 3rd, and that might be a little interesting after the pitch he threw over Carter's head. Strike on the inside corner, 0-1.
The only problem with the fact that if you thought that was a beanball and thrown at the batter's head on purpose, if you retaliate, you get stopped and warned, and also you can set it up to get kicked out of the ball game. So
that is correct.
That would be a little bit too obvious, I think, if you went after Gullickson in his next at bat.
Lord Charles makes it 0-2 to Winningham. 1-2. Winningham struck out swinging his first time up. 1 of 4 recorded by Dwight so far.
Got him with a curveball that first time up.
And there it is again. 5 Ks for the doctor in 4 1/3.
And 3 of the 5 strikeouts have been on curveballs. This is his pitching record, 1st through 4th inning. 54 pitches, 40 strikes. That's really amazing. 14 balls and 4 strikeouts now in the 5th inning with his 5th.
And so far, not too many pitches. The 4th inning, 21, when he faced 6 batters and left the bases loaded. Mike Fitzgerald hit a line drive off a curveball to left field in the 3rd inning. It was caught by Foster. And he takes a fastball, strike 1.
That was the lightest line drive you could ever hit. It just sort of floated out there. Pick it out of the air with a pair of tweezers.
And Foster hardly had to move. That was an atom ball. Foul back, 0-2. Well, with the St. Louis victory, temporarily at least, Montreal 5.5 behind the Cardinals, and the Mets 3.5 behind the Cardinals, pending the outcome of this game. The winner keeps pace. The loser loses a full game in the standings.
Jeff Shea, the winning pitcher for St. Louis, and Engel, a new pitcher from the minors, the loser. They brought him up. The Cardinals got him for 3 in the 1st. Boy, is that pitching staff decimated.
There's Bill Gullickson on deck. I'm sure that he and Carter will have a few words, if nothing else. 1-2 to Fitzgerald. Fouled away again. And the curveball makes it 2-2. One out, nobody on, no score, top of the 5th inning. Strike 3.
Well, this time it's Gooden's fastball on the outside corner that picks up the strikeout. 169 strikeouts for Dwight Gooden, and here comes Bill Gullickson.
Well, so far Carter hasn't even turned his head to acknowledge Gullickson getting in the box.
He can't afford to make it obvious.
One thing about being a catcher, though, with that mask on, you can say some things, and few people can tell that you're talking. Oh, hello. Now Gooden's going to get warned.
There it is. See, and that's the trouble with that rule. The guy that does it first gets away with it.
Gullickson's hot. He says something to Carter. Frank Pulley gets between them.
Now they're going to warn the umpires, and that means that anybody else that throws will be ejected from the ball game along with the manager. But that rule is all wrong. The first guy gets away with it.
I agree 100%. And the umpires are anticipating it. Here's the pitch to Carter.
Now he gets away with this. That's a beanball right here. Now Gooden, who has to protect his own people, he gets the warning. The rule's backwards.
The first
you know what
guy,
you should do with that rule, Steve? With that rule in effect, you go out and throw it first time. You knock somebody down, the first batter.
You can hit somebody if you want to, and you won't even get a warning.
Nothing happens.
1-1. The other bad thing about it is that you've got the umpires anticipating it. Now you see Frank Pulley getting some heat from the Montreal dugout. I think he just said no pitch, but I don't know what he was talking about.
Buck Rogers is out there, the manager of the Montreal Expos, a former catcher. Not that that means anything. I'll say one thing, that won't hurt Dwight Gooden's reputation in any way. When the word gets around, and it gets around in a hurry, that Gooden will protect his own men, it stops a lot of other people from throwing at Met batters.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Bob's making his point. Frank Pulley's letting him have his say.
Well, this will be carried along. Remember last year with the knockdown battles with the Chicago Cubs and the Mets.
Well, order temporarily restored.
And that is Holtz around temporarily.
Yes. Davy Johnson very impassive. But knowing Davy, he likes what he sees. 1-2. And if the fans here at Shea were ever rooting for one particular strikeout, this is it. Gooden strikes out the side here in the 5th inning. He now has 7 in the ball game. No score after 4.5, and we're back after this for Burger King. Thrown out a time or two, Ralph Kiner.
Spend your life on your back.
That's what you get for being a good hitter.
And now Howard Johnson gets an off-speed pitch. It's strike one. Gooden striking out the side for the 2nd time in the ball game, getting Gullickson for the 3rd strikeout in that inning, and that was really cheered here by this capacity crowd. It was the 25th time that Gooden has struck out the side. Now Johnson leading off, and a 1-strike count. Gullickson with a fastball, and that's 1 ball and 1 strike. Johnson grounded out his first time up. Both sides with 3 base hits in the game. Mets got a runner to 3rd base, Darryl Strawberry, in the 2nd after a double. But Santana thrown out in the fine play by Vance Law, the 2nd baseman. Fly ball to left field. Tim Raines right there. So 1 away, and that'll bring out Rafael Santana. Don't miss the crazy new comedy hit Bizarre, starring John Biner, tonight at 11, right after Greats of the Game here on Channel 9. Rafael Santana, batting 8th in the batting order, came up to this ball game hitting .440 against Montreal pitching. 11 base hits.
Davy Johnson has been talking about giving Santana some rest with Ron Gardenhire back up from Tidewater, but I guess hitting .440, it won't be in this series.
And a hard ground ball base hit to left field. Santana continuing his attack against Montreal Expos pitchers.
Well, Raffy gets out in front of one, and a clean base hit through the hole. He has been so consistent.
And it brings up Dwight Gooden in a bunting situation. Gooden grounded out his first time up, but right now in the sacrifice situation. Tim Wallach, a fine fielding third baseman, already in on the grass. Racing at first base, holding against the runner. And Gooden bunts it very nicely out to the first base side. Gullickson makes the play to Law, covering at second, and the sacrifice moves Santana down to second base. Good play by Dwight Gooden.
An outstanding bunt, textbook bunt right here. With that first baseman holding the runner on, you want to bunt it that way. Wallach, an outstanding fielder on top of that at third. But Gullickson took it himself and made a good play, but a fine sacrifice by Dwight.
And the Mets get their third base runner in scoring position. The Expos have had two. And the batter will be Len Dykstra. Dykstra has struck out and grounded out. 0-0 ball game. 2 men out. We're in the bottom half of the 5th inning. And that is ball 1.
Dykstra is a guy that they are going to pitch inside. He really crowds the plate and leans way over, and they knocked him down last night. Mike Fitzgerald told me before the ball game that it was a purposeful called pitch in an effort to move him back and keep him from swinging at those breaking balls across the plate.
He has a very small strike zone, and he does stay up on that plate, and that's the way you should hit if you can do it. Contrary to what a lot of batting instructors say today. 1 ball, 1 strike to Len Dykstra. Dykstra so far this year has driven in 15 runs. Gullickson working extremely slowly, so Dykstra asks for time, and he gets it.
Well, that's nothing new for Gullickson. He takes his time as much as any pitcher in baseball.
When he came out to the mound, he was clean shaven.
You don't want him pitching on getaway day.
1 ball, 1 strike. Grounded foul down the third base side. Good play. 1-2, the count to Len Dykstra. Len brought a modest 5-game hitting streak into this game. On deck batter Wally Backman. So Gullickson finally ready. Curveball hit down to the first baseman Dan Dreesen, who tosses to Gullickson, who covers the bag, and that retires the side. So no runs, 1 hit, a man left at second, and the score at the end of 5. The Mets nothing and the Expos nothing. Now here's a word from Sunoco. A pitching duel going on here at Shea Stadium. The Montreal Expos against the New York Mets. Tomorrow the final game of this homestand.
All right. A Bill Webb banner. I'll tell you. Some people are really demented, aren't they?
You got to get that banner because that'll be the last one you'll see.
That is a definite collector's item.
I guarantee you that Bill Webb has that on tape right now, and he'll show it the rest of the season. Bill Webb, our director.
He deserves a banner, I must say.
Cindy, his wife, deserves a banner.
A lot more than a banner.
Now it's Tim Raines to lead off. Tim got out on a walk in the 4th inning, got all the way to third base. The Expos loaded the bases in the 4th inning. They're 1 big inning against Dwight Gooden, and now Raines takes for ball 1. Raines struck out his first time up. Dwight with 7 strikeouts in the game. And it's ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. Both sides have had a tough time against the starting pitchers, Dwight Gooden and Bill Gullickson. They have been in command of this ball game. Fastball fouled off in the count 2-1.
Raines getting on base so much over the last couple of months that he has moved into the top 10 in on-base percentage. He's 8th in the league with 372. Pedro Guerrero with an unbelievable 429 on-base percentage, leading the league.
400 considered to be excellent. Pete Rose is second at 406. And it's popped up into left field. George Foster puts it away, 1 away.
There's the National League scoreboard as we look at some of the big crowd here. The Cardinals continue to roll 11-3 over Chicago. In the 6th inning, Philadelphia leading Pittsburgh 2-0. In the 5th inning, Cincinnati leading Houston 2-1. In the 6th, San Diego and Atlanta tied 2-2. And later on, it'll be San Francisco at Los Angeles.
And the Cardinals with that win leading the Mets by 3.5 and Montreal by 5.5. And for Montreal, it'll be Vance Law, who's 0 for 2 and a breaking ball for ball 1. Law called out on strikes on a curveball his first time up. He also has flied to right. Missed the fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, that fastball up and in like that with the velocity that Gooden has, it has to be the toughest pitch he throws among many.
1-1 as the 20-year-old right-hander comes back with another fastball. 1-2. Only one other pitcher, as you look at Vance Law, and now Dwight Gooden, has done so well at this young age in the major leagues, and that was Bob Feller. Ground ball hit hard to Santana. He one-hops it, and there's the out. Most of your major league pitchers don't even hit the major league scene till they're 24.
Santana making a good play on that ball. A sharp one-hopper that he went back with properly. Didn't try to fight the ball. He just played it nicely. Because it was so sharply hit, he had time to throw out Vance Law.
And Santana had to take time to allow Keith Hernandez to get over to first base.
Right.
He plays so deep. Now Andre Dawson, the batter. Andre has struck out and fouled out.
Just to amplify your point, Ralph, about pitchers, you know, you think of great pitchers like Bob Gibson and Sandy Koufax and guys like that. They weren't doing anything until their mid-20s, really, as far as the big leagues were concerned.
That's what makes this guy so amazing, and that also makes him amazing right there.
Lord Charles comes calling again.
20 years of age and a curveball like that, and he can get it over. Feller, there it is again. Feller could throw a curveball like that. He couldn't get it over all the time. Look at this.
Watch where the ball starts out and finishes up. Dawson thought that pitch was a little high.
2 strikes to count. And another one. Dawson, 3 curveballs and out of there. A 1-2-3 inning. Strikeout number 8, and the score at the end of 5.5 innings. The Expos nothing, the Mets nothing. Now here's a word from Budweiser. Hits the Expos 3. The Mets have had 3 runners in scoring position without cashing any. Expos have had 2. And Gooden has worked to the regulation 3 batters in every inning, with the exception of the 4th, when the Expos loaded up the bases and Wally grounded into a force play for the final out of the inning. Wally Backman, the leadoff for the Mets. Wally with 1 of the 4 hits for the Mets. A single to left field. He ended up at second base on the stolen base. Bill Gullickson with a fastball. It's grounded foul.
Boy, Tim Wallach is way in on the grass for Wally Backman. He starts off about 5 yards inside the cutout, but then he takes a couple more steps in as Gullickson delivers.
Wallach, a fine fielding third baseman, has made 7 errors at third this year. Only 7. And it's a loop base hit into center field for Wally Backman, his second hit. Wally makes the turn, then holds at first base, and the Mets have their lead batter on for the 2nd time in this game.
And what a difference it makes for New York when Dykstra and Backman get on base. That was exemplified in the Cincinnati series. Fran Tarkenton tackles comedy with the not ready for primetime players in the best of Saturday night tonight at 12:30 here on Channel 9.
And now the Mets have Keith Hernandez at the plate. Keith with a single his first time up is 1 for 2 tonight. Tie ball game, bottom of the 6th. Hernandez at the plate with a runner at first base and no one out. No one even thinking sacrifice in this spot.
Keith with an 11-game hitting streak now.
And he takes a strike. Keith in July with 8 game-winning RBIs, batting .404, raising his average from .251 to .292, a .491 on-base average, and he has hit in 23 of 25 ball games coming in, so he is now 24 of 26 with 29 runs batted in.
Time has been called by Eric Gregg, the first base umpire.
The Mets in July rolling behind Keith Hernandez with a record of 19-7. Last year in July they were 21-9 for the entire month and were in first place at the end of July by a half game. So July certainly has been a great month the last 2 years for the Mets.
But July was by far their best month in the second half last year as they really tailed off after that.
And the fastball for a ball. 2 balls, no strikes. Scoreboard has it at 2-0. The home plate umpire indicates 1 ball and 1 strike. Bill Gullickson working on the mound for Montreal. Comes in with a record of 10-6. There goes the runner. A pitch out. A great job by Hernandez. He hits it out to short. A base hit. What a play by Hernandez, and he is called out at first. How could he be out? Boy, Hernandez is hot, and Eric Gregg calls him out at first base, and there was interference at home plate on that play. Let's see what happened.
I think Frank Pulish calling him out for being out of the batter's box. Hernandez is claiming that he was interfered on. Now we got another argument going. Buddy Harrelson and Davey Johnson trying to keep Hernandez in the ball game first and foremost. Frank Bully came down the line and made a call as if to say that Hernandez was out regardless of the call at first base.
Well, we'll have to look at it again to tell, but Hernandez got it through the bat at the ball, and this is legal. You can do this.
That's right, and he's not out of the batter's box.
Now, after hitting the ball, he goes across the plate.
Mike Fitzgerald had no idea where the ball was, and Hernandez was safe at first on top of it. Look at him throw this bat at the ball. Now Fitzgerald doesn't know where the ball is. Hubie Brooks was breaking for second, so he's got to come back. He throws over to Dreesen, and Hernandez beats the throw, but Eric Gregg called him out.
So that's the sequence of the play in this ball game that has seen an umpire hit by a batted ball and the batter getting the credit for a base hit.
On top of everything else, Ralph, they're making Wally Backman go back to first base because the call apparently was not out at first base,
but out of the batter's box.
Out of the batter's box.
He's not out of the batter's box now.
Nope, not until after he hits the ball by throwing the bat at it, and then his foot came down.
And he was not out of the batter's box when that bat struck the ball, and that's what you look at. But unfortunately, the umpires don't have a replay to look at.
No, they don't. This is a very good umpiring crew, but they made 2 incorrect calls on that one play.
Now it's up to Gary Carter. 1 man away. Pickoff attempt. Backman back easily. Catcher will get a put out for that play. And another pitch out called. Backman not going. This has been some sort of ball game, I want to tell you. Both pitchers have been warned for throwing at batters. Umpire hit by a batted ball in the infield. Batter given credit for a base hit. Would have been an outplay for the Mets. Now another attempt at the stolen base. And it is a foul ball. The ball was foul tipped into the glove of Fitzgerald, who did not handle it, but the stolen base is being allowed. Once that ball makes contact with the glove, it is considered to be caught.
You could see Frank Pulley say he caught the ball. He's ruling that Fitzgerald caught the foul tip, then dropped it in an effort to throw to second. So Wally's going to be allowed to stay at second this time. Well, if there's anything you haven't seen yet, just stay around.
It looked like Fitzgerald did sort of uncouple his hands and let the ball drop out. Let's look at it again.
Carter swings and foul tips it. Fitzgerald has it in the webbing. Now he goes to get it. Now he loses it.
I got to go with a call there.
I think it's a good call.
They might say we're prejudiced, but I mean, really seriously, it looked like he certainly had the ball in the glove, and then as he found he couldn't get the handle, he let it roll out.
Well, I think anybody who's listened would know that we would say so if it were otherwise, too. But it looked as if he did catch the ball.
And even though it's a foul ball, it is a foul tip, and play continues. And Carter fouls this one back in the count at 1 ball and 2 strikes. It was Carter who was the batter with a 2-strike count when Gullickson let one fly over the top of his head. Nothing was said. And then when Gullickson came to the plate, Gooden threw one over the top of Gullickson's head, and the umpires warned both benches and both pitchers.
Incidentally, a stolen base for Backman, his 17th of the year and 2nd of the game.
1-2 the count to Gary Carter. 1 man out, tie ball game, no score. Ground ball to third. Wallach boots it, picks it up, and has time to get his man. So Wallach coming up with the out as Backman crosses over to third, and that will leave it up to Darryl Strawberry.
The ball sharply hit, and this shows the advantage of keeping your body in front of the ball. You saw Tim Wallach shuffle his feet over to his left in an effort to maintain position in front of that ball, and boy, that made a big difference because he was able to keep it in front of him and throw out Carter.
Now the option is, you want to pitch to Strawberry or go after George Foster. Conference at the mound. The decision has been made. We'll see how they play it. Well, it looks like they're going to pitch to Strawberry, but they'll pitch him carefully. Buck Rogers now makes a sign they're going to walk him. They'll take their chances with a right-hand batter.
Well, this will be the first walk that Gullickson has issued tonight, and of course it is an intentional walk.
This will only be the 27th walk given up by Gullickson this season.
I think last year, Ralph, or maybe it was 2 years ago, I'll look it up, Gullickson only walked something like 26 the entire year.
He has outstanding control.
And pitched over 200 innings.
So runners at first and third. No score, and the batter will be George Foster. Twice is grounded out to the shortstop.
Yeah, it was last year he walked 37 batters in 226 2/3 innings.
First and third, 2 men out. Bottom half of the 6th inning, no score. Foster has driven in 52 runs this year. Did not play in yesterday's ball game. And the fastball fouled away.
George came into this game hitting only .111 against Montreal pitching this year. And his 0 for 2 tonight will drop that down a bit.
One strike to count to George Foster. Good speed on the bases at first and third. Backman at third, Strawberry at first base. 2 men out. Fastball line to left field, a base hit. Backman scores and the Mets lead 1-0. The strategy fails.
Well, this capacity crowd brought to its feet by George Foster, who answers a call after the intentional pass to Strawberry. Fastball about thigh high, and George takes care of it to drive in the first run of the ball game. 1-0 New York. Foster's 53rd RBI of the year. And you got to believe, though, Ralph, under the circumstances, that as a manager you do the same thing again with Strawberry hot and a left-handed hitter.
So the strategy does not work, and the batter now is Howard Johnson, and he bounces it out to Law at second base. Easy chance for Law. He picks up the out at first, and that'll do it. But the Mets pick up the first run of the ball game on 2 hits, and 2 men were left on base. And the score at the end is 6. The Mets won, the Montreal Expos nothing. Now here's a word from Metropolitan Life.
The 7th inning here at Shea, a jam-packed Shea Stadium. And there's the Carl Churkin fan club. Join today and get the winter free. I don't even know what that means, but coming in now for the play-by-play, the only guy who has more fans than Carl Churkin, Tim McCarver.
And a breaking ball is low to Hubie Brooks. The winner free. I've spent some costly winners, I will say that.
Depends on where you spend it.
I think I'm joining it. I don't know about you. Fastball fouled away, 1-1. Get the winner free. Well, I guess it would be overstating it to say that this game is a war. It would be overstating it to say that this game is a conflict, but not overstating to say it's a sincere skirmish.
A battle might not even be overstated.
Woo. Man, these guys are going at each other. 1 and 2. To Hubie Brooks. He has 2 hits against Gooden tonight. And the Expos only have 3. 1-0 New York. Top of the 7th inning. Fastball fouled back. Gooden has struck out 8, walked only 1. He struck out the first 3 hitters he faced in the first. He also retired 3 hitters by strikeouts in the 5th. Breaking ball got him. 9th strikeout for Gooden.
I'm telling you, this is almost surpassing Lord Charles right here. Hubie Brooks bending out of the way, and he knew it. He just turned and went to the dugout. Look at the pitches in the innings. 14 in the 5th and 21 in the 4th, the highest totals. But look at the total between strikes and balls. 58 to 21, almost 3 times as many strikes as balls.
And Dan Dreesen, the batter. Breaking ball is low. Dreesen grounded into a double play in the 2nd and hit a ball with runners at 1st and 2nd in the 4th, 2 out, that hit the umpire and was awarded a base hit. 2-0. About on line for Dwight. Last year he struck out 276 and walked only 73. This year 3-0. With the 9 strikeouts tonight, he struck out 172, and he has walked only 46. And ball 4. So the 2nd walk of the night issued by Gooden, and Dreesen the runner at 1st with 1 away.
Well, the first of 2, the Yankees beat Cleveland 8-5. In the 2nd game, they lead Cleveland in the 2nd 1-0. In the 6th inning, Chicago leading Boston 4-3. In the 5th inning, Detroit leading Kansas City 6-3. Toronto and Baltimore tied 2-2, top of the 7th. Bottom of the 4th, Texas shutting out Milwaukee 3-0. And 2 games on the coast later, California at Oakland, Minnesota at Seattle.
Boy, those Blue Jays having won 9 in a row, 7 games in front of the Yankees. Tim Wallach, the batter, with Dreesen, fair speed at first base. Danny with a couple of stolen bases. Swing and a miss. That's where you want to go with Wallach, up the ladder. 0-1.
Tim was telling me before the game that he has not been pulling the ball as much this year. And he doesn't feel like it's anything real consciously on his part.
Just like that. He's not trying to pull that outside heater, huh?
It's just sort of a groove that he got into in spring training this year.
Well, that's when you're really set up well. Your positioning's very, very good as a hitter if you go the other way with that outside pitch. Tim Burke warming up the Expos. Oh, 0-2 to Wallach. Fastball hit hard to Backman. There's one. Double play. 4-6-3. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left after 6.5. It's 1-0 New York. We'll be right back after this word from Garcia Vega. Bottom of the 7th, Rafael Santana leads it off. He's 1 for 2. 1-0 ball game. Mets on top. And you know, Steve, as Santana takes a strike, usually in a low-scoring ball game like this, the crowd's asleep. It's more of a purist game. Not so tonight.
Well, that's because the doctor is out there.
1-1.
Plus, the fans have been just unbelievable this year.
Well, and plus tonight, there's some extracurricular activities. Gullickson knocking down Gary Carter on the 0-2 pitch, and Dwight Gooden retaliating with a knockdown pitch of his own. He was warned. The automatic fine of $50. Cake. 2-1.
No problem.
Well, you don't know what personal problems that Gullickson had. I guess it's, you know, Gary was, you know, a lot of public statements about him not being liked by some of his teammates, and Gullickson, maybe it is. Obviously, it's personal between Gullickson and several other Expos. But Gooden retaliating, only professional. That's the way it is. Now, what about a pitch like that? 3-1.
That is the problem with the rule. That is the exact problem with the rule. After that, all this has happened, what are the umpires to do on a pitch like that?
Are they the judge and jury? I suppose they are. 3-2.
No one else is around to handle the job, but I think it puts too much pressure on the umpires.
It does, yeah.
And also, as I said before, after the first occurrence, which is the guy who really belongs receiving the fine and or the warning, they begin to anticipate things, and I think that might change the way in which they call the game on occasion under certain circumstances if they're anticipating.
Well, certainly the way they call a knockdown pitch, go into the mind of the pitcher. Ball fouled off. Still 3-2 to Santana. And a lot of it is common sense. Of course, that was a common sense approach by Pulley tonight, to his credit, because there was no question that Gooden was throwing at Gullickson, but there really wasn't any question about Gullickson throwing at Carter. Ground ball up the middle. Vance Law throws out Santana, so with one out and nobody on, Dwight Gooden will be the batter.
And I'm not taking issue with the way the umpires handled it. I don't think any of us are. What we took issue with was the rule itself, which is not really fair.
Yeah, as you and Ralph were saying, the guy who draws first blood is never punished.
Exactly.
And sometimes you do draw blood, unfortunately. Gooden is sacrificed and grounded to short. Good slider, 0-1. Ripped to center field. And Winningham there. Boy, he hit that ball a ton. But Winningham had he played perfectly, and with 2 out and nobody on, the batter Lynn Dykstra.
Lenny will take a little extra time to allow Gooden to get back and at least sit down for a minute with 2 out here in the 7th inning. And Len, who is 0 for 3, has a 5-game hitting streak on the line tonight.
Len 0 for 3 on the game. He has struck out, grounded to second, and grounded to first. One and 0 to Len Dykstra. Tony Leswick played in the NHL with the New York Rangers, the uncle of Len Dykstra. He rips that ball down and in. That's the same place he hit his first and only home run of the year off Mario Soto in his second major league at bat. Down and in. One to nothing. Gooden and the Mets. Bottom of the seventh. 2 out, nobody on. 2-1. Gullickson, after a shaky start last year, was 11-3 over his last 2.5 months of the season. So he is a strong finisher. 3-1.
Well, every pitch that comes close to a hitter now, particularly a Mets hitter, is going to elicit some reaction from this capacity crowd, and this is no exception. Dykstra crowds the plate. They knocked him down last night, and they're going to pitch him inside.
And they pitched him too far inside then. Gullickson issues his second walk, but his first legitimate walk, as his first was intentional. He walked Strawberry in the 6th, and then George Foster delivered a 2-out RBI. That has been it on the scoring side. Wally Backman has had a good night. He scored the only run of the game. 2 for 3 with 2 stolen bases, and look for Dykstra to run.
Gullickson asked the second base umpire, Joe West, for time so he could repair, to a certain degree, that trench in front of the pitching rubber.
Bill Webb could give us another shot of the ball of the foot, of the right foot, the pitching toe of Bill Gullickson. That's where those, you see that rough spot right there. Naturally, all pitchers pitch off of that from the pitching rubber. That's where the hole is. And you go in before a ball game and you see a lot of pitchers taping that area up because a certain amount of callus builds up on the ball of the foot. It takes a beating during a ball game. And if you don't tape it up, then you can really run into serious problems. Blisters and stuff like that.
Years ago, guys used to wear a little steel toe they'd strap on their shoe.
I think there goes the runner, and the throw to second base, not in time. Third stolen base of the night for the Mets, and the first for Dykstra. 2-0 to Backman.
Dykstra's 9th of the year, and he got such a good jump that even the pitch out didn't help. The throw from Fitzgerald, as you see, pulls Hubie off the bag. And Lenny head down, going hard all the way. Hubie tried to make a swipe tag at the last second, but to no avail.
So it's 2-0 to Backman. Hernandez on deck. 2 out. The Mets up 1-0. And a fastball right down the middle. 2-1. But they do have that toe plate, a little extra piece of leather sewed on there now. But you're right, it used to be much more bulky than it is now.
That's progress.
Yeah, that's right.
Plus, guys go through so many pairs of shoes that you don't need that anymore.
Gullickson almost has a hole in the right shoe of his, right on the ball of the foot. Backman pulls one foul. It's 2-2 to Wally Backman.
Wally has now scored 23 runs in the last 22 ball games, indicative of how he has been getting on base. And over that period of time, he's hit .341.
Dykstra will have to take an extra jump with 2 strikes and 2 outs. If Backman swings at the ball, you just take off. Outfield playing extremely shallow, so it'll be tough for Dykstra to score should Backman get a hit. There's Raines and Dawson.
But if Wally can get one hard in the gap, he can run all day.
They're giving Backman the right field line. Dawson way around into right center. Playing him like a right-handed pull hitter. There's Andy in the top of your picture. See how much room he's got down the right field line. Three and 2 to Beckman. Dykstra at second, 2 out. Fitzgerald wants it inside. You saw him touch that right shin guard. Different way to show location. I would guess that. There he touched it again. And he wanted to come in. That ball tailed back over the plate. So it's still 3 and 2. Never like to give location with a runner on second base, because you know it's quite easy to give location to a hitter. Put your left arm out or your right arm out.
Sure. And if you're giving location, the odds are it's not going to be a breaking ball.
That's exactly right, because a breaking ball, it's more determined where it's going to be. If he calls for a slider, there's touch the inside shin guard, and he probably wants the fastball. Now he's leaning in, and he gets the fastball hit well to left field, and Raines turned, went back, and then went over. That wind doing tricks with that ball. But after all is said and done, the Mets are scoreless in the 7th. They left the runner on and lead 1-0 after 7. Wells, what a terrible voice.
Oh, nobody'd ever hire him to do a commercial.
Nah, no chance. Winningham has struck out twice. Her ball is outside. Johnson on the line and tight at third base. Foster and Dykstra both too deep, as you see right there. Winningham does not have a lot of power, 3 home runs, but especially the other way. And while you're inclined to play deep in the late innings to prevent against the double, the wind is blowing in. 1-1. Fly ball to Dykstra. Now, a lot of people would say, see, he's not too deep. But the point that we brought up so many times is to protect against the dunker. You can go back and catch a fly ball like that. You can go back 15 feet and catch a ball like that. But in doing so, you protect against the ball hit 30 feet in front of you.
Especially when you've got Dykstra's speed. A ball hit in the air like that, you have plenty of time to get back. UL Washington's going to be the pinch hitter. Washington on the year hitting .306 with a homer and 17 RBIs. As a pinch hitter, however, he is 1 for 6 with no RBIs. And he's hitting for Mike Fitzgerald. You talked about the dinker, or what did you call it? Dunker.
The dunker, and you call it the dinker.
The other day we were talking about that, and today I got a call from as Tim Burke begins to throw again, from the Australian Tourist Bureau.
They get us on the dish down in that far, the lonely continent. Terry Francona on deck.
And the fellow wanted me to know, we had a little conversation about, and I thought that the word dink or dinkum or dinker had something to do with Australian language. And he told me that fair dinkum, which is a ball hit in fair territory.
1-1 to Washington. Come on.
No. Is an Australian slang word for the best, the cream of the crop, the real thing, as in the soft drink commercial. It is the real McCoy, as it were.
Well, we are watching Fair Dinkum on the mound tonight.
Fair Dinkum would be a good phrase to describe that guy right there.
There's Fair Dinkum. And he's got better than fair stuff.
Of course, a foul dinkum is a ball that does not land in fair territory.
That's what Washington just did. He foul dinkum off Fair Dinkum. 1-2 to UL Washington. And some inside cheese brushes back Washington with that ever-present toothpick in his mouth. He went away from that for a while. 9 strikeouts for Gooden. Washington hangs tough. 2-2 to Washington. Gooden has been in double figures 21 times in his major league career in strikeouts, 15 last year and 6 this year. However, only once in his last 7 appearances has he struck out 10 or more. 3-2.
Well, since he is 9-0 in his last 12 starts, that would go to show you that you just don't have to strike out a ton of people to be successful and win ball games, even if you're Dwight Gooden.
Line drive, left field, and Foster fields it on 1 hop. So Washington has the 4th hit of the ball game for the Expos, and he's at first, and the batter Terry Francona.
Well, UL sort of inside outs this ball, and it looked like it had enough hang time to be caught. But as you said, on the previous hitter, Herm Winningham, a left-handed hitter with not much power, a la UL Washington, Foster playing a bit too deep.
And the same with Terry Francona. Very deep as Dykstra and Foster in left field. Not really talking about the pull field. Strawberry in right field. Naturally, when you pull it, you've got more punch, and Francona does have some punch.
As a pinch hitter, Terry is 5 for 24 with 4 RBIs. But no home run.
No home runs on the year. The fastball is high, 1-0. One to nothing, New York. Top of the 8th, 1 out, and Washington with good speed at first. He has 6 stolen bases. He's been caught twice. There's the strike, 1-1 to Terry Francona.
And there's the line on the doctor. Again, that outstanding ratio with 9 strikeouts and only 2 walks.
Breaking ball and a beauty. So it's 1-2 to Francona. Washington gave a fake break at first base, but not going.
Look at this curveball. Drops about 3 feet. There's UL's fake break. He only took a step or 2 and then hustled back as Carter came up ready to fire.
Jeff Reardon warming for the Expos. Tim Burke is ready. And if the Expos take the lead, I would imagine Reardon will be pitching, and Francona fouls it back. So it's still 1-2 to Terry Francona. Tim McCarver along with Steve Zabriskie and Ralph Kiner. Jimmy Raines on deck. As always, following our broadcast here on WOR, Kiner's Corner. And a throw to first, and Washington looked like he had ideas.
He was leaning towards second base. I thought for a minute Gooden was going to get him. Watch him lean. Now he has to get back off that right foot.
Right leg buckled, didn't it?
Yep. But there's the advantage right there of not picking that right foot up and crossing over. If he'd have had that right foot in the air, he'd have been out.
You got it, brother. Francona fouls another one back. Francona does not strike out. He has struck out 6 times in 119 at bats. You're not going to cane that much.
Well, Montreal as a team does not have a lot of guys who strike out a lot, and that's one reason that Dwight has not had great success against them so far in his young career. He's only 1-1.
Another throw to first. Washington back. One and two to Francona. Breaking ball lifted to center, or to shallow center, and Santana back. Tell you, that wind really had something to do with that ball, Steve. That wind is gusting in from center field.
When it was first hit, it looked like it would carry to the short part of the outfield, but when it got up there, it just stopped. Santana actually broke back and then had to come in a step to catch it.
Steve, earlier in the year, I did a show for the greats of the game, and Willie Mays was the guest, and Willie Mays told me that center field at Shea Stadium is the toughest park in the National League to play center field in.
Tougher than Candlestick?
Tougher than Candlestick.
Oh, baby.
Tougher than Wrigley Field. He said Shea Stadium was because of the swirling, unpredictable winds here in this horseshoe-shaped ballpark, and don't say that quickly. 2 out. Washington back.
Well, it's one reason they enclosed Candlestick was because Candlestick used to be a horseshoe and the wind really swirled, and they figured if they enclosed it, it would help that.
And it has to a degree.
Yeah, nothing will totally help that ballpark.
No.
But it's interesting, and I can see it.
It has played some tricks on center fielders that we've seen in our 3 years here at Shea, and certainly I saw as a player. 1-0 to Tim Raines, and Timmy is 0 for 2 on the night.
Wrigley can't be that tough, excuse me, Tim, because either the wind's blowing out a gale or in a gale usually.
The sun, though.
Yeah, the sun is
Wrigley
tough.
Field. And there goes Washington. Ground ball in the hole. Dykstra will have to hurry. Washington can run. And they held him at third. Dykstra, good job getting to that ball with Backman covering the run and hit. You're not going to hit and run with 2 out, but you will run and hit. He ran, and Raines hit.
Right through the vacated spot. You see Carter ready to come up and fire with the runner going. Backman breaking for the bag. And if the runner had not been in motion, it's a very easy inning-ending play. But Wally did a little pirouette there, and Washington, who runs very well, makes it to third easily, and had Dykstra not really hustled it, he might have been sent.
So a good job by Len Dykstra. Raines obviously a threat to run. Vance Law 0 for 3. Runners at the corners and 2 out. Swing and a miss. 0-1.
That was the 5th hit for Montreal. Raines' first hit of the game.
Vance Law homered off Dwight Gooden the 14th of June on an inside fastball. Dwight has given up 11 home runs this year, only 7 last year to lead the National League, and fewest home runs yielded. Look at Carter shaking his head. Breaking ball and a beauty. 0-2 to Vance Law.
Dwight has had that Lord Charles working since the first inning tonight, and this is probably the first outing of the year where he has had command of the curveball from the very first pitch of the game, and he has used it to tremendous advantage tonight.
Chuck again, 1-2.
Another breaking ball and very close. A little bit low and away.
Well, he's going to get it again. Or did Gooden shake him off? There goes Raines. Fastball fouled away. So if you're a catcher in this situation, good speed at third, and it's Washington. Raines at first. If you're going to throw through, and you almost have to throw through, you look the runner back at third in the same motion of throwing to second base. And that should freeze the runner.
But it's not an easy thing to do.
No, it's not. Runner not running, and it's ball 2. 2-2. What a ball game. My goodness. Two and two to Law. So Gooden wants the curve. There goes Raines. Curveball struck him out. Strikeout number 10 for Dwight Gooden. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 left. And after 7.5, 1-0 New York. Now here's a word from Express Mail. You do bat 8th. Sal Butera in the ball game, and he will bat 9th. And the new pitcher, Tim Burke.
Look at those stats. 5-0 with a 1.39 ERA and 4 saves. He's been outstanding. Burke making his 43rd appearance. He's 5th in the National League in games. And in 64 2/3 innings, he's walked 24 and struck out 45. In his last 30 appearances, going back to May 29th, he has allowed just 3 runs. He has walked only 15, and his ERA since May 29th, 0.60.
My goodness. Well, he is following a gentleman that pitched a heck of a ball game, Bill Gullickson. He gave up 1 run on 6 hits, and he struck out 3 and walked 2. So good job by Bill Gullickson, but he trails and cannot win this game, can only lose it.
Bottom of the 8th inning, and Keith Hernandez to lead it off. You saw some of the 51,378 who are here on hand tonight. A paid crowd of 45,118. There are 3,591 midget Mets here tonight.
All right.
And that total of over 51,000 on hand.
The Pee-wees, huh?
Yeah, they're loving it. Hernandez 1 for 3 to extend his hitting streak to 11 games. Takes a ball low and inside.
And we'll watch this unusual motion of Tim Burke. Watch how he brings the glove to his hand. There's not another pitcher in the National League who winds up like this. Very unique.
Fastball 1-1.
Unique's unique. It's not very unique or most unique. It's unique.
I'm guilty of saying that too. Somewhat unique. Rather unique. This is unique.
It's unique. Brings the glove to the hand. I wonder how he grips the
That's
ball
what I was
the
going to
same
say.
way.
How do you get a grip so quickly? Hernandez skies one down the left field line out of play, and the count is 1-2. Keith has hit in 24 of his last 26 ball games and hit over 400 in the month of July. Two and 2. And a tidal wave going. When you got 51,000, you can really make a wave.
The Mets are hoping it will be a tidal wave. L.E.
T-I-T-L-E. Back up the middle, base hit. Second hit of the night for Hernandez. He's at first base with nobody out to start the bottom of the 8th inning.
This ball out of the strike zone down, and Keith can flat hammer that low pitch. Out over the plate, he rips it up the middle. A diving stab attempt by UL Washington was futile.
Gary Carter 0 for 3.
Most futile. Quite fruitless.
And that's with a T rather than a D.
Yes.
As in futile.
As in systems.
Well, the crowd really getting behind Carter. Gary's flied to right and grounded out twice. Grounded in the hole. Wallach will go to second for 1. Washington on to first. and they pick up the double play.
Well, a good pitch on Gary Carter. It really ties him up. You're hoping balls like this that you swing at go foul, but Wallach turns it easily. 5-4-3. Fans get a complimentary ticket to the Nissan Trans Am at Lime Rock Park on August 10th with a test drive of a new Nissan at your participating Metro New York Nissan dealer.
2 out and nobody on for Darryl Strawberry, who has doubled and walked in 3 trips, 1 for 2 officially. Ball 1 up and in. Almost came back over the plate, but it's 2-0. Now.
Burke's got to be careful here. You got to turn Strawberry loose right here. Have him choose one pitch and try to put another run on the board. Go for it. Leave your feet. It's like batting practice.
Terry Leach begins to warm for New York. In the dirt, 4 straight balls. So Strawberry at first with 2 away for George Foster, who is 1 for 3. George drove in the only run of the ball game in the 6th inning, scoring Backman on a single to left field for his 53rd RBI of the year. He's second on the club to Hernandez, who leads with 58 RBIs.
Tim Burke, quite a find for the Montreal Expos back in 1980, the #2 selection by the Pirates. And he went to the Yankees along with 3 other minor leaguers in the Lee Mazzilli trade. And a minor league deal sent him to the Montreal Expos along with Pat Rooney back in 1983. And he has really been quite a find for the Expos.
He's having some kind of year. Strawberry runs on the first pitch, and it gets away from Butera. 4th stolen base of the game for New York, and Strawberry's 14th of the year.
Darryl picked a good pitch on which to run, a fastball inside, and he had a tremendous jump at first base. So he's there, and if Foster delivers again, could be 2-0 New York.
2 out with Darryl now at second, and 1 ball to count on Foster. Swing and a miss on a slider, 1-1. One to nothing New York. The Mets with 7 hits, the Expos with 5. Check swing foul back on the screen, 1-2. Line drive to center, base hit. Strawberry will score. 2-0 New York. George Foster has driven in both runs.
And what a big hit that was. And Herm Winningham, had he been able to play that ball on a good hop, then he may have thrown Strawberry out. Darrell had a good jump off a second, but did you see how Winningham had to lay back a little bit, caught him on his heels, and Darrell slides right through Butera. Now watch Winningham. Watch how he catches this ball a little back on his heels. He's forced to. And now the little crow hop. And watch Strawberry slide right between the legs. Safe all the way.
Foster now with 54 RBIs. Strawberry scores his 20th run in the last 23 games. And Howard Johnson is going to be walked intentionally as Foster went to second on the throw home. And the Mets will have runners at first and second for Rafael Santana with 2 out.
George Foster with the slider. Boy, does he love to extend those arms. Now watch Winningham. That stop right there. Now he's got to go again. That cost him the play at the plate. It shows long legs of Strawberry sliding between the short legs of Butera. There you have the long and the short of it.
There you go. Darrell can eat up that ground with that loping stride.
Man.
Santana is 1 for 3 with a single to left in the 5th inning. And he hits one in the hole. Hubie Brooks over, goes to second, gets Johnson there, and the inning is over. But the Mets pick up 1 run, and it could turn out to be a big one on 2 hits. We will go to the 9th inning here at Shea with the Mets leading Montreal 2-0. New York Mets and WOR-TV, and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets and WOR-TV is prohibited. Top of the 9th inning, and the doctor, going after his 16th win of the season, will face Andre Dawson, Hubie Brooks, and Dan Dreesen. 2-0 New York, as the Mets picked up a big insurance run in the bottom of the 8th inning on a 2-out base hit by George Foster. Fly ball center field. Dykstra coming in. An easy play and 1 away. Dwight trying to pick up his 10th complete game. He has struck out 10 so far. Hubie has 2 of the 5 Montreal hits. 2 for 3. 1 out, nobody on. And curveball misses, ball 1. Another fly ball to center. This one over into right center as it's slicing away from Dykstra. Strawberry makes the catch. 2 out in the 9th. And that'll bring up Dan Dreesen, who is 1 for 2 plus a walk. It was Dreesen's ball that hit second base umpire Joe West back in the 4th inning and loaded the bases. But Gooden pitched out of it. And Dwight 1 out away from tying the Mets club record of 10 victories in a row without a loss, set by Tom Seaver. That was back in 1969. A ball up and away. What a ball game this has been.
Man.
Fastball, Santana. The Mets win. Dwight Gooden is now 16-3 on the year as he pitches his 10th complete game and 5th shutout of the season. He struck out 10 to now total a league-leading 173 Ks, and he ties the New York Mets team record set by Seaver in '69 of 10 victories in a row without a loss. Dwight Gooden's league-leading ERA of 1.74 will drop, and the Mets have kept pace with the St. Louis Cardinals at 3 games back in the National League East, dropping the Montreal Expos to 6 games behind in 3rd place. What a night for the doctor, and better than 51,000 were on hand to see it. The Mets win it 2-0. Tim and I will be back with a wrap-up. Ralph will follow with Kiner's Corner right after this for Garcia Vega.